let's jump into it, shall we? We're kicking off the morning with some Karma Lux. Lux here, very powerful control champion. 6 mana, 4/5 with barrier, so she doesn't take damage the turn she comes into play. When she's seen you cast 6+ mana worth of spells, create a Final Spark in hand. Final Spark's a slow spell that deals 4 damage to an enemy, and it has Overwhelm, so the extra damage goes to the Nexus. Her leveled mode continues to generate Final Sparks every single time you cast a spell. And then Karma here actually works really well with Lux. Karma says she creates you random spells when she's not leveled. And when you're enlightened, when you hit 10 mana, she doubles every spell you cast. So not only does she double up your Lux laser beams, but she doubles up the generation of them too. So, for example, if we cast Remembrance with leveled Karma and Lux in play, we'll get 2 Thermo Beams, and both of those Thermo Beams will get doubled when we cast them. So basically, this turns into 16 points of damage. One thing you'll note is that we have a small champion split. There's only 2 Karmas, and there's 1 Fiora. That's just because Karma is a card you don't really want to see until the super late game, and Fiora is just like a good rate champion, so like 3/3 challenger for 3 is fine. We're not really alt win counting with her a lot. The bottom end of our curve is stuff like Succession, Blinding Assault, River Shaper, things to help gum up the board early so we can kind of survive to get to the late game. Things like Radiant Guardian to help us gain life as well. I think Runeterra is your favorite card game right now. I mean, yeah, definitely. I wouldn't, if I didn't like Runeterra more than Magic, I wouldn't have taken a 25% pay cut to change over to playing Runeterra instead of continuing to play Magic. I think Runeterra has the best core design of any TCG I've ever played. Any card game I've ever played, and I think it's got a bright future ahead of it if Riot continues to do things right. I think I should still have them. Yeah, I think we might squeeze in a Hex Variety Night at one point before they shut the servers down. I believe so, Lambton. I believe Karma copies the spell exactly. Elise Twisted Fate. This could be something more controlling. There's been control variations that play Elise as an early champion. I'm gonna mulligan these and keep the Blinding Assault just in case they're aggressive. Put in playing something off meta that's kind of hard to predict based on their champions. It's funny, I was looking at some stats on a website called Twitch Tracker on my channel the other day. What was it? The games tab. For people that aren't familiar with what Hex was a game I streamed before I started streaming Magic full time, and Runeterra is slowly catching up on that. So 80% of the total time I've spent streaming on Twitch has been Magic so far in my life. 9% Hex, and Runeterra is up to 4.5% with everything else being 7. It's definitely Hex was a good game, but it definitely wasn't amazing software. It was like better software than Magic Online to set a low bar, but it was far from perfect.
I know what lurks in the shadows.
I mean, Runeterra just has the best system for X, is like true for most X's. Like, Runeterra has the best free-to-play system. Runeterra has the best pay-to-play system. I think, like I said a second ago, I think just the core design of what Runeterra is as a game is better than most. Like, there's just so much that the game does right. You think the new update is worth the cost on Terra? I don't know what that means, QB Finest. I think you might have missed a word in there. Or missed letters on a word. Are they playing the Deep without Nautilus?
Water changes but never breaks.
That's true. Runeterra has the worst gambling system. That's fair. Runeterra is awful if you're trying to gamble. Sadness on the stack results. Happy 1 year. Voted this past week and hoping for a better 4 years. Thanks for the 12 months. I really appreciate that, Sadness. And thanks for voting. Need more people like you. Let's get your sword to go with that shield.
Who has the serpentine?
Is Magic dead? Magic's dead to me. It's far from dead in general. To quote one of the recent R&D members of Magic the Gathering is more profitable than it's ever been. Magic is making more money during the pandemic than it has ever made historically.
We could use a bite.
Strike, we will reform. What form will the waters take?
They have a parlay? Crawling station, sure.
Nest, hatch, feed.
You're in over your head.
Let's attack with this. We want them to kill it so we can Radiant Guardian. I mean, the event pass on Runeterra is purely cosmetic, so it depends on if cosmetics are worth money to you. If cosmetics are worth money to you, then sure, it's worthwhile. But if you're not someone that cares for pets and stuff like that, like the pass isn't worth anything at all. People talking about loot boxes as far as cosmetics go, I think there is a fundamental difference between gating cosmetics behind a loot box system and gating core game mechanics behind a loot box system. And I know that there's some people that will disagree with that. They'll just say gambling is gambling, but I think if you're making the game, I think one, gambling can be fun, but two, requiring people to gamble to play your game at all is not good. Elise is leveling here, which is pretty scary.
Is beneath the skin.
This is not that scary. I have a bunch of spells and I have Lux. Sounds good, Hank. I'll get that bumped up after I'm done today. So if I play this, they hook these two, I take 10, 11, gain 4. That seems fine.
The sun is shining. We should too.
Sure, but I mean, like, again, like most things in life, this isn't a black and white discussion. I'm not saying Wizards or Magic is inherently bad because they engage in loot boxes, period. I'm saying it's bad and not for me, and it's worse than Runeterra system because it requires you to engage in loot boxes to engage with the system at all. As is often the case, the details matter. The nuance and the details of things aren't just something you can straight ignore. There's still a bunch of cards off deep. Yeah, Radiant Guardian is earning her paycheck here for sure. We're gonna get to start casting spells next turn with Lux, so we'll get at least one Final Spark next turn.
Let's get it, crew.
I mean, we haven't played elves in Magic for a long time, and honestly, the death of elves could probably be tracked to the start of the end of enjoying Magic for me. That whole Modern Horizons really was really what finally killed my last interest in Magic Online. It took Modern Horizons, gutted Modern for what it once was to me. Just made it into something I no longer enjoyed.
Banish the unworthy.
How do we feel about attack with this plus riposte it to gain a bunch, and then we'll single combat, which will also trigger this?
You have to get me out of here.
Yeah, Coda Chris, the healthcare system in the United States is fundamentally broken and does not work except for a select few, like many things in capitalism. And I guess to be fair to Modern Horizons, it's not just Modern Horizons. Like,
I'm always up for a round.
past Modern Horizons issues I had with past Modern Horizons issues I had with Modern also stem from cards like Oko, as well as things like
I've been hiding my life
what's the card?
too
It's on the tip of
long.
my tongue. Teferi Time Raveler. Yeah, Uro and Teferi Time Raveler. Yeah, Uro and Teferi Time. That's the one, not Oko, Uro. Yeah, just fire design in general. Fire design took most of the things I loved about Magic and burned them down. Though, it was specifically on Modern Horizons that, like, killed the decks I loved playing. Because, like, Elves was a deck I loved playing in Modern. And then, like, they printed Plague Engineer and, what's the other card? Lava Dart, which just made Elves largely unplayable.
Hey there. Don't mind the knife.
That's awful rough. Oh yeah, Renin 6-2. I forgot about that one. Opponent's combat sequencing here is very bad. So, if they hook this to start, I don't get to gain life, but because of how they've ordered their attackers here, they're going to hit me for 4, and then this is going to gain 4 back. I'm going to go ahead and Concussive Palm this 3-3 so they don't draw a card. Nice, Blue Man. Congrats. So again, the ordering of attackers in Runeterra really matters. One of the many things that adds an incredible amount of nuance, details, and player skill to the game. Combat resolves left to right. Yeah, the combat order mattering in Runeterra is really awesome because it actually makes it so even though board states are smaller than they are in Magic, there's actually more decisions to make as a player when you're attacking. Like, in Magic, the decisions often come down to, like, are you attacking with everything or nothing? And here, it's like, okay, even if the right decision is attack with everything, there's then the decisions of, okay, what are my permutations look like from there?
The strong don't want mercy.
Yeah, the priority system in Runeterra gives it just an incredible amount of room to outplay and play around people.
The weak don't deserve mercy. The sea beasts will fear us.
Okay.
Where do you stand on cold shots?
Yeah, they are not a deep deck. They're a Twisted Fate brew, Twisted Fate Jagged Master brew. Their deck's sweet.
Curses.
For justice and all things bright.
Something the matter?
Can't win 'em all, eh?
Barrier Lux, I think.
Try Demacian magic.
Looking at the little arrow on board. The arrow here changes the board music. The arrow, yeah, there's three different songs. Hey, do I want to kill this? I feel like I want to kill this, huh? Their hand is mostly empty at this point. I could also fight here to save this and use my shield up. I don't hate that.
La 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 la. La 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 la.
You'd rather barrier the 4-3? Yeah, maybe that's better. I don't know. I feel like we kind of have a choose our own adventure book at this point. I'm not sure we can really lose this game. Famous last words. Sure, it's very possible letting them draw there is wrong. You know, and giving them more gas could mean, especially with like the 3 jagged taskmasters, giving them more gas here could be a mistake.
Deal me in. Soak it in.
Have a good one, QB. Stay safe out there. Yeah, I agree. If we spend our mana and make a bunch of final sparks, they are probably dead and gone.
A game. Go on.
I think I actually want to kill the elusives more than the Twisted Fate here. I have a turn or two to kill the Twisted Fate. Okay, that's a little scary. We could get punished here now for not killing Twisted Fate. So they're going to draw 4 fleeting plus 1. They're going to draw 5 cards. So if they had a salvage next turn, this could level. So salvage means this levels, oh shit, this is going deep. I'm probably going to find a way to lose this game, shit. And it ain't going to be pretty. There are a lot of ways to win. I think we're going to find the way to lose. I'm nervous.
The strong don't want mercy.
2 years of giving Jeff money from the other less cool Jeff. Alex, thanks for the prime. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Okay, that's not bad. I'm gonna pass and see what they do here. That's cute. Does 6 mana from Lux count in between turns? It does. I'm gonna do this now, see if they have the salvage. And I've got 2 prismatic barriers here that could technically give me another final spark this turn. Our Nexus is pulsing. Of course our Nexus is pulsing. These gems spin around here too.
A beacon through the dark.
Depending on what else they do here, we also might just want to strike or single combat this. What a deck our opponent.
Lucky you. I'm the last thing you'll see.
It's pretty good.
Try me, I dare you.
I think I just say block like this and see what they do. If they want to let these trades happen, I get to go ahead and just deploy another Lux and then go to my turn. Actually, maybe I just deploy another Radiant Guardian here. Since something will be dying, that's probably better, huh? They did order the lifesteal at the end again.
Lights out.
My decisions definitely look differently if they hook the lifesteal in a different spot. Definitely a mistake they made a couple of times. Opponent could perhaps be newer to Runeterra. Definitely an important one to be able to recognize. I believe 100 coins for $1 is either the $5 rate or the $10 rate. If you buy the coins $100 at a time, they're even less than that.
We can do this.
Yep. Gosh, their deck is Ghastlian.
You will be scoured from this land.
I'm ready.
Please, I have connections.
We're in this together.
I mean, we've seen most of their deck. We can easily rebuild what they have here just from playing this game. Yeah, at 5-1, 10 power for 1 mana is not bad. Above average, you could say. The old crawling sensation make 10 attack worth of spiders.
I never.
They've played 4 Jagged Taskmasters this game, Marty.
Open wide, sugar.
I've got us covered.
I will end this here. Hold back the darkness. I will end this here. Hold back the darkness.
Yeah, this looks good. So, this happens, gives us a final spark. This happens, puts Lux to 2 out of 6 again. Oh, I should fight the elusive. Yeah, that doesn't really matter. We're gonna... So anyways, I started blasting. You're right that I should technically fight the elusive.
No more holding back. Got me.
Yeah, lure seems like a weird choice. Deep fish seems fine. Their deck's drawing a lot of cards, and maybe that's why they're playing. They're playing the lure because of deep fish.
Rivers shape the land and give it life. What form will the waters take?
It was a heck of a grind.
A beacon through the dark.
Lux. This game was a good example of how much Lux takes over when left unchecked, huh? We never even got to Karma either. There's 2 Karmas hiding in our 16 cards. Yeah, that's correct, Silence. The first thing you click on with Concerted Strike strikes first. It's also relevant if you have Fury things as well. The Fioras, just because you don't really want 6 mana champions weens, and like Fiora is just a good rate. 3/3 challenger for 3 is just good. We have barriers and stuff, so you could like technically alt win with her sometimes, but she's just there as a good rate card early.
Into battle with hearts aglow.
Gift from the river folk.
The superior tactic is to never give up.
Yeah, that was quite the grind for Lady Lux. So for reference, I think this deck seems sweet too, but this is a viewer submission, like a lot of the things we play here on stream, so I can't take credit for anything. Mulliganing River Shaper here. I'm interested to see what the burn matchup feels like. I feel like this matchup's got to be bad. I'm going to keep the Concussive Palm to have something to do early-ish. But would love to try and find, like, Radiant Guardian or other cheap things to do. We are attacking on odds, which could be our saving grace this game.
No one's the wiser.
I think they're probably still good at 3 CPU.
Behind ya.
I think we might have died, chat.
Water changes but never breaks.
I pull the strings.
So, the opponent's deck also has an incredible amount of reach in it.
In position. Boom.
Currents pull them down.
So we're going to 5 here, which probably means we're dead. Between Decimates and Noxian Fervors.
What form will the waters take?
Here's a lukewarm take, Hamblin. Because of how Runeterra fundamentally designs their cards compared to how Magic fundamentally designs their cards, even though Runeterra doesn't have their standard format completely filled out, I think there's more individually playable cards in Runeterra right now than there are playable cards in Magic standard formats. Like I said, matchup seems real bad. Yeah, there's a few cards that are definitely on the weak side that could use some buffs, but in Runeterra, there's always a chance that, you know, they take those cards that are a little bit on the weak side and make them better, right? Whereas, like, in Magic, they're intentionally creating draft filler to sell better loot boxes. Or sell more loot boxes. I think I'm keeping all these.
Nothing escapes my watch. Safeguard our homes.
The last patch was weird, though. If you didn't read the actual details about the last patch, it probably seems weird. But if you actually read what they communicated to us, last patch was initially not intended to be a balance patch. And they squeezed in a couple of balance changes, even though they weren't intending to ship any at all. As a point of reference. The EA game got a $10 million fine. Please, for the love of God, let loot boxes become a regulated thing. What balance changes did they do? They increased Lee Sin's mana cost by 1, and they increased Make It Rain's mana cost by 1. They could burn our mana here, but I think I'm pretty okay with that. We'll just get to untap and play Lux.
For the homestead.
It is. It is a start. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Baby steps.
Knocked and ready.
If every game that contained loot box purchases had an 18 plus label on it, that would be a good thing in my opinion.
Hope burns on.
That should be the minimum we're doing.
Let the light guide you.
Burn that mana, baby.
Safeguard our homes. My arrow won't miss.
Gonna take this in, I think. I would like to again iterate on the fact that Lee Sin has never not been okay from a power level perspective. The problem with Lee Sin always has been and will continue to be the amount of interactable that he is, where he creates incredibly unsatisfying and uninteresting gameplay. His issue entirely stems from the fact that when you play against him, you just don't want to play anymore. Alright, what are we doing here?
Pushing my limits.
So we're starting here. And then we're going to go ahead... Oh, that's a final spark. And then we're going to go ahead and single combat these two.
No more holding back.
Fight this judge.
I have 3 denies in my deck, chat.
Water changes, but
Three denies.
Justice and all things bright.
gift from the river folk.
That's true. We haven't drawn any yet. That is accurate. I have 2 draw 2s in my hand, though, too, though. The deck list, as always, can be found on your screen.
Arrow.
I think I'm just Willowbioting her, right?
Our strength is yours.
A beacon through the dark.
That's a Twitch extension. It's technically built into Twitch, but it's called the Twitch extension, yeah.
By the light!
Line up.
Oh yeah, I don't know of what order I did these in.
Take.
That's good to note.
Few earn the right to call themselves Trifarian.
That's true. They don't know that we haven't found our things yet.
Demacian steel. Try Demacian magic.
You're in over your head.
Lux, unchecked Lux is very good.
A gift from the river folk.
I misjudged.
Faster than my arrow? I think not.
I forgot to put the Nizer deck. Maybe when we sideboarded last time, we forgot to put them back in. I want to strike with these two, so this way, even if they have a flash freeze in hand, which we know they do, this still dies. This is going to get to kill this.
Everywhere I go, the light follows.
It's impossible to know, Siege. There's a real chance that if they had just spent time casting Decimates on a turn, we would have just played units out and killed them by attacking. So I don't know if they were like strictly playing around Deny.
In you go.
How do we feel about Spirit refuging here to not only draw a card, but get out of triple Decimate range? I think that's right. Sure.
Lights out.
Orders take.
Barrier doesn't save the dragon and still gets killed by this. All right, they're at 4 here.
My spirit is
Yeah, the thing with barrier still gets struck.
will bring peace to Ionia, whatever the cost.
The barrier just prevents the damage, doesn't prevent the trigger.
Pain is nothing. Stand and fight.
We let Karma die here. Oh, really? Okay, well, this works out.
A gift from the river folk.
Okay, so I get to put this on the stack and then concussive palm this. We'll get a bunch of 3-power things and then we'll kill them. These are slow, so they can't play both of them. They need a sweeper here. Are they playing? If they're playing like Avalanche, we could get into trouble. No, they're still dead through Avalanche, right? Because these two survive. They need like Icequake here. In before Reckoning? Reckoning doesn't do it because my Karma lives and their wolf dies.
To be.
Reckoning doesn't do anything there, chat. They're still dead on board after they Reckoning. They were on 4 life, Jet. Misfortune Gangplank. Alright, another aggro matchup. Gonna keep Palm. I mean, Reckoning, the Ash Shijani Noxious deck is like the default stock Reckoning deck. There's a good chance our deck as constructed is not competitive against these aggro decks. Our curve is really high. Not having any plays in the first 2 turns of the game frequently generally means we die here. Unemployed Sofa, thank you for the 24 months of support. I appreciate that. Welcome back.
Victory at any cost.
Dragon. It's kind of hard for our deck to draw multiple cards in the same turn early on.
Water changes.
I think the idea of the 4-2 for 3 with Lifesteal seems like an okay solution. Just gonna pass here and end the round, burn their mana, burn their fleeting card.
Nothing but the stink of blood and sweat.
Yeah, there be dragons.
I have my orders. No prey, no pay.
What's going on, Rebecca? I'm doing swell. is good.
Strike, we will reform.
Love ya.
What form will the waters take?
I had mentioned this on stream before, but like, I genuinely hadn't realized how much the negativity that Magic brought into my life created constantly for me, and how much happier I was not playing it. And like, it's literally my job to play Magic, like get paid my bills, and like, I'm happier not playing it and making less money. So like, I wonder how many people who don't make money playing it, who like are just spewing money playing it, or like also in a similar position and just don't realize how toxic their relationship is with their hobby. I would bet there's a significant number of people that just play Magic because it's habit and feels familiar that haven't actually enjoyed it in a long time. They're just there for nostalgia reasons. Hey, I'm glad you're enjoying it, Lorian. Runeterra is great. I hope more people get into it.
Fuse is lit!
Way to call me out, Jeff. Jesus. Yep. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, these, like, a lot of people don't realize, but, like, a lot of these games, especially ones that you put a lot of money into, like Arena, are, they create psychological triggers that emotionally keep you from being able to feel and do other things. Like, they are intentionally, the feelings they elicit are intentionally there to keep you coming back and feel trapped. We are probably dead here. You're not wrong. We're not dead. We're not dead on board though, so you know. Yeah, you feel this entrapment. There's like that big feeling of, well, what if it becomes good again? And I stopped playing, and now, but like the what ifs are very strong. Alright, so now with this draw, I get to go ahead and single combat these two and then do this. We could just get burned out here. We could be dead. He says before immediately dying.
Make the Empire proud.
I mean, and it's not just money too, it's time, right? Like, people get really involved. Like, as someone who has an addictive personality, I don't know what it is, but it's easier for me to play a few hours a week of Runeterra and not feel all consumed by it than it is than Magic ever was. I think part of that is how much it takes to get into it at all. The fact that Runeterra is so accessible to get into doesn't make me feel like I'm trapped into it. And it makes me like I'm playing it because I want to play it, because I enjoy it, not because I feel obligated to. Yeah, Magic and Arena especially has a lot of parallels to gacha games. As someone who plays a lot of Raid Shadow Legends, that's definitely true. Yasuo Katarina, you have my attention. Can I keep Remembrance and Dragon here? So remember, we can bank spell mana the first couple of turns, which lets us play this Remembrance on 3, which is great. It's my current favorite Runeterra deck. Probably Lux Ash Control or Ash Catch Control, both of which can be found up on my website. Not only does the KDA board have the KDA music, but you can toggle the music. Hello, oldest son. Hey, sit down. We do not stand on chairs. I love you. I think I'm just playing a dragon out.
Blood for nothing.
Sit down. Go on the chair. Have a barrier in case they have some kind of trick here. Has Ashken summoning Make It Rain with the update? Yes. Oh, I'm dumb. They have a Blade's Edge. I forgot. I'm just gonna. I forgot that the Katarina was good. The Katarina recalling levels their 2-drop 2, gives it 2 extra attack. I was spinning a child on a chair. No, the deck editor still doesn't have a craft all button. It is their single biggest technical failing of the game. That I'm really surprised that they haven't addressed it already. The fact that you can't click one button to turn all of your things into cards in your deck is a big miss. I wish they would place a higher priority on implementing that feature. I'm mulligan the Will of Iona. These 3 all sound reasonable against aggro. It's probably because there's 3 different currencies to make the cards. I mean, from a programmatic perspective, it's very straightforward to craft from the top down. So you're right that like that's probably the reason, but it's also a very surmountable. Jacob, you need to not play with the cards in that box. Those are Daddy's cards. There is a box of Yu-Gi-Oh cards out there in the playroom, in the basement, that you are allowed to play with. Yeah, correct. That's exactly what you do. You just prioritize the currencies in order from the top bottom.
Forever shape the land and give it life.
What the top preference differences in circumstances from person to person? No, that's not true, Weens. It is objectively correct when spending your resources crafting things in Runeterra to use wild cards and then shards and then gold. From the top down, that is the order that those currencies are least to most flexible in. And the ratios are basically the same. Identical? I mean, it's obviously not a priority. It's not been implemented yet. But it's a very important quality of life feature that should be prioritized.
Gift from the river folk.
It's honestly one of the reasons why it needs to be prioritized is because the deck editor being clunky like that is one of the first things a person new to Runeterra experiences when they join Runeterra. And having a player's first interaction with your software essentially being this is really clunky, I think is possibly going to turn a lot of people off that would otherwise be very interested in playing more Runeterra. But I think that being clunky like it is going to be a stopgap for a number of people. Jacob, if you're going to yell, you have to go out in the basement. I love you. I'm glad you're having fun.
The people are my strength.
Most of my friends have a crappy deck building experience in the first 30 minutes, and it's off-putting since we're used to convenience. Yeah, I agree. I'm glad I stuck through it to discover like how good the game is. But like I think there's honestly, you're just objectively wrong. You're just like, there is a fundamental problem with the deck builder. Like, I love Runeterra, it's my favorite game, but don't simp for. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to use that word anymore. Don't defend failings of big companies. Like, it needs to be fixed. It's like the amount of time it takes to craft a deck when your deck has nothing, when you none of the cards in the deck is unacceptable. Don't try and pass it off as some kind of feature or intended thing. Like, it's just bad. Call a spade a spade. They need to fix it. They need to improve it. And like I said, the fact that it's one of the first things you see as a player also makes it a bigger deal than it otherwise would be. I think we've died, chat. Correct, yes. And that's one of the things that a lot of people don't understand in the Magic community. And they're like the number of times where over the years we're like, I was hoping Magic would get better, and like I'm giving feedback hoping the game improves, and people are like, well, you should just quit. And honestly, that's eventually what drove me out of the game, was like people were like, oh, you should stop giving feedback and you should just leave. And it's like, well, I've been giving this feedback for a long time, and maybe you're right, I should just leave. Like, if you like something, you should want it to improve, especially the small, easy things like that. Alright, the aggro matchups seem really hard. I think the idea of the lifesteal 4-2 seems really good. We're going to cut the Screeching Dragons. I think I just have too many 5s. Maybe I trim a Will of Iona. Again, just too many 5s. Let's try and put a few. Try and put a few purples in here. See how it goes. Nah, I think you're over-exaggerating, Skullbones. Never. Here's one really important thing. Here's one thing that's true about Magic. It's true about Runeterra. It's true about most video games you will play on the internet. Reddit is a lie. The average person posting about a video game on Reddit is not the average player of that game. If you are invested enough in a game to join an online forum and post about it, you are automatically more invested than a majority of the player base.
They're out there.
And a lot of people make the assumption that that vocal minority is the norm when it just couldn't be further from the case. Do I want to play River Shaper and offer to trade it with this? I think so. I was gonna play Tasty Tree Poke. and try and pressure them. This potentially living to draw multiple cards sounds good.
For the fallen. Look out for reavers. Alert the villain.
Sure, but you're also assuming, Skit, that like you are the average player. And I would even say that about Twitch here too. Like, people forget things that they have been doing for so long aren't the norm. The majority of people that play video games in the world don't watch other people play video games on Twitch. And like, that's great. I'm glad you're here. I love doing this as a job. But again, just like, understand reality while you talk about what you're doing. Like, don't reject reality and substitute it for your own because what you're substituting sounds more appealing to you.
You're in over your head. Let's talk about your task.
They're playing Flash Freeze in their deck. That sucks.
A gift from the river folk. The trolls are going to war.
Like I said, just for clarity's sake, I'm glad people end up here on Twitch. I'm glad people are invested enough to provide feedback. Just like, at the same time, aim to understand that, like, if you're one of the people doing those things, you are no longer the average case user scenario. And that's fine to not be average, chat. It's fine to be different from the norm. Embrace change. Change is great. I'll clear this out using my shield. How many hours a day do you think the average player plays Runeterra for? I have no idea. Generally speaking, I don't like to speculate on things that should be answered with statistical data. That's definitely something you should answer with a specific metric.
Into battle with hearts aglow.
Nothing's tougher than a troll.
This might be wrong. This attack sets me up to Concerted Strike this. And I get to kill it through Troll Chant with this Concerted Strike. Click the River Folk first, so that way if this just resolves, I draw a card. I try to be below average in all my gameplay. Someone has to support the bottom. God bless. Oh, wow. Harsh wins.
I've been hiding my light too long.
Oh, right. We had a single combat. Nice. Deal Arena. I forgot we had 2 on her already. Apparently our opponent did as well. Harsh but fair. And this notably cannot hit my opponent. It only hits their units.
My blade grows restless.
The sun is shining.
We should too.
Do not stand in my way.
Would you like to level your Tryndamere? You would not. I don't think I can just play out.
Follow my blade.
I don't think I want to just play into Ruination there. Sure.
Light out.
My spirit is an unquenchable fire. Ione speaks through me.
Ice to me.
Okay, Trundle could imply that they don't have another sweeper. In a game like this, you don't need to target the average player, but the average paying player. Sure, but that's more of a reason to fix the deck editor, right? Because like paying players are going to be building decks more often. All right. This is going to turn into a little bit of a challenging turn here, but I think we're up to the task.
I'm gonna make a U-sickle. One troll to rule 'em all.
That interaction always generate the same two things. I don't think so. Yeah, I think we just play another Remembrance, because I think playing this out implies they don't have Ruination. Alright, so it looks like it does. I mean, obviously that's not a guarantee that it always gives us the same thing twice, but, you know, signs would point to.
It's always cold in the Freljord.
Just as a general note, to anybody that's new to the channel, if being timed out for 10 minutes feels like a violation of your rights or is something that's going to really upset you, this channel's not a good culture fit for you, and I'd recommend watching something else on Twitch. I love, my favorite part is how when they come back, they basically never refuse to acknowledge or engage with why they were timed out. They come back to simply complain that they were timed out at all. So they don't want to have a discussion. They just want to complain that they weren't allowed to use my portion of the internet as a box to shout into loudly.
Come on in.
There are plenty of places on the internet you can go bang your hands on the keyboard and they'll leave you alone. Go visit one of those. Hey, good games, Malibu. Good luck in the rest of your laddering today. Like Reddit. Yeah, we were just talking about Reddit. Nice, Tron Dragon.
Death itself can't stop me. This is gonna be fun.
Act with conviction. Peace has its cost.
If I put Riposte here and they have a Vile Feast, they could pop the barrier and then kill her. If I put this in front of here, though, I'm going down to 6.
By force of wind.
I guess I'm going down to 8 regardless. So, like, I'm dead to Atrocity regardless. So, I think we do this because I'm dead to Atrocity regardless. So, unfortunately, cannot beat Atrocity here, but it is what it is. So, the way Overwhelm and Barrier works, we still take damage equal to the power minus this, so... Alright, we're out of resource and they haven't Atrocity'd us yet, so... Okay. Alright, mods, be nice to the plebs. Set the phasers back to stun.
They look angry. You don't stand a chance.
Mods were plebs once. We must remember our humble beginnings. Alright, I think we're just deploying Tasty Tree folks here.
Looks like I'm ready. Bye-bye.
Looks like I'm ready.
Escapes my watch.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
It's been a good game. Our deck's been kind of bad against aggro, but it's generated a lot of really good games against mid-range and control. His voice lines are great.
I'll knock 'em dead. This'll be a slaughter.
Hey, Kevin Dino, thank you for the 11 months of support. I really appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around.
Strange.
So I need to draw a stun or a riposte. So close, chat. So close, and yet so far away. Yeah, it was a good one, Waholo, there. Let's think about what this deck is doing. We're only on 2 denies. No, I thought we had 3. Well, I guess Willow Biona would have been out there too. Declan? Where's my calendar? You're kind of short, dude. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it. You looking for your next class?
When it works.
My work has 3 more hours, bud. Love you. How about some detains? Nah, I don't think, like, again, if anything, I feel like the problem is that we don't have enough in the aggro matchups. Blinding Assault's been super mediocre. I think I'm gonna cut that. I actually think Succession, there were 3 of these to start in the list, and I cut one to fit Remembrance in, but I think that was a mistake. Being able to play this on 2 banking spell mana as a turn 2 3/3 seems good. And I think I want one more barrier or stun style effect. Would I rather have a 3rd concussive palm or a 3rd riposte? I think I want the 3rd riposte. So, Weens, I don't think our deck consistently plays 2 spells early enough to trigger the dragon guy. I think Tasty Tree Folk is better. I'm gonna try an extra riposte. Pushing damage with riposte and karma in the mid to late game seems really good. Let's do one more game with this, and then we'll shift gears to some Death Mark ephemerals for the next part of the stream. Thanks for bringing out this morning, by the way. If you're a new viewer, welcome. My name is Jeff Hoagland. I stream full-time here on Twitch. We do Runeterra every single morning, Monday through Friday. I also do variety stuff every single evening from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Central. If you're into that sort of thing, make sure you tap the follow button and hang out. All right, sweet. Yeah, I'm going to mulligan the deny. Barrier with Tasty Tree Folks probably really good here, right? So I think I'm going to keep those. Any good ways to learn the games in the meta? My #1 recommendation for getting started is do not skip the optional challenges. The tutorial is kind of short in what it requires you to do, but there's a bunch of optional levels that walk you through all the different priority system type things in this game that are very, very good. I actually don't think telling people to do the tutorials is obvious because a lot of these games, like, kind of famously have dog poop tier tutorials. I feel like that's one of the many things Runeterra does really well, much better than a lot of others, is the tutorial is superb. I use this as a game too, I think. And the next turn we'll bank 2 mana, gain 4, so I'll be able to play Tasty plus Barrier still, which is great. Hello. And once you've done that, Tatsum, you know, just watch streams like you would any other card game. Play some games yourself. One of the things that's great about Runeterra is that because the decks are so accessible in terms of price, it's really easy to just build whatever you want.
Run while you can.
For the Empire.
Tasty Tree Folk might drag us kicking and screaming across the finish line this game. I don't know that we're guaranteed to win, but Tree Folk into Guardian into Lux here is going to be a big game. Like, if they open on attacking with everything here, we get to go, like, trade here, play Radiant Guardian post-combat.
You're strange.
We end up at 10 here with a Radiant Guardian in play. Morning Bane.
I fight for the fallen.
Who's ready for a shot?
I came to complain about my timeout, God bless.
Lock the doors.
Why is this thing a 5/5, chat? Remember when this card was a 5/6? It's so big. He's such a meaty boy, chat. Radiant Guardian used to be a 5/5. She is no longer.
The light follows.
Why is this a 5/5? Because it got nerfed. Yep. Gangplank is leveled. Yikes.
Coming in hot.
Alright.
I'll shoot the wings off
Yep. We're going to 7. This Spirit Refuge, along with this Prismatic Barrier, could be very good for us here. So hopefully they open on attacks.
You wanted wrath.
Yeah, I think, for the record, I agree with Spencer. I think this nerf was fine or even borderline good. I think the problem is that this card should probably be statted lower.
Hold back the darkness.
I've been hiding my light too long.
Stay back.
Are these blocks too greedy?
I will end this here.
These also end me at 8, but this, if I block like this, I die to a Make It Rain, which probably
Hold
isn't
back the
good.
darkness.
I think I have to block up here so I don't die to Make It Rain. Because if I block this down here and they Make It Rain... Oh, I fucked up! If I block the first one...
Losing is just an opportunity to
No, if I block the first one, it ends up exactly the same, right? Yeah. And that's the card for reference that people have talked about Pirate aggro a lot, and they said it's on their radar. Noxian Fervor is the card that I think is overtuned, suspect, needs to be... Should have just blocked the first 2 guys. No, blocking the first 2 guys doesn't work. I need to block their 5/5. Okay, they were gonna kill whatever we blocked. Blocking the 5/5 was not optional, and which 2-1 I blocked didn't matter. But yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like that game's a good example of like, so this deck had really awesome games and was a lot of fun in the mid range and control matchups. I don't know that you can fix the aggro matchup. Like, I feel like we had almost everything we wanted to go right in that last game that we played, and we just kind of got dumpstered anyways, right? Like, the really, hey, Spartan, thank you for the 21 months and for the very generous tier 3 sub. I really appreciate that. Welcome back. But yeah, the fact that Noxian Fervor is not only an incredible amount of reach, but in instances like that where it could be used to deny life gain is just really, really brutal. And like I said, I think the change to Tasty Tree Folk almost paid off there, but alas, it just wasn't good enough because of Noxian Fervor. All right, we're going to go ahead and shift gears to our second deck.